This is the time of year most of us spend time outdoors and often encounter wildlife, even in Connecticut, where it could be deer, raccoons, birds, or even a black bear. So what should you do if you have a close encounter with a wild animal? Well, no one knows better than our friends from the Beardsley Zoo. Welcome Jim Knox and Jackie Westline. Glad you're here. And you also have Lilith with you.
Yes, we do.
Lilith the owl. She's, what kind of owl is she?
She's an eastern screech owl, and Lil is a great example of what people can do to help wildlife. If they find injured wildlife, they can contact the zoo or the state of Connecticut, DEEP, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and we'll put you in touch with rehabbers.
Instead of just taking them in, and which might wind up being bad for everybody involved, right?
Exactly.
So what are some of the wildlife? We obviously have the owl here, and what are some other wildlife that we typically might see? I see deer all the time. They scare me in the morning when I'm driving.
Deer all over the place, wild turkeys, raccoons, foxes, black bear increasingly here in Connecticut, a lot of black bear in the state. So the general word, Jeff, respect. Respect the animal enough to give it a little bit of space, and then the animals, generally speaking, will leave us alone.
All right, and so you have Lilith here with you. Are owls that common in Connecticut too?
They're fairly common. You know, we have numerous species here in Connecticut. They're nocturnal animals, so we normally don't see them, but we typically encounter them in the case of coming down on over the road to grab prey. Unfortunately, there are a lot of car strikes.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting because just a moment ago, before we came to on camera here, you were telling me something that I'm inclined to do when if I see a turtle crossing the road. I want to at least try to help it, sort of urge it along. I don't usually touch it, but try to urge it along so it won't get run over.
Yeah,
but
I always encourage people, be safe, and really that means when you see a turtle, almost always, unless it's on your driveway or a parking lot, wish it well, but stay safe. Don't get out of your car because you put yourself at risk. When you do encounter a turtle in a parking lot or a driveway setting, you can point it, move it to the other side. If it's a snapping turtle, don't touch it.
Yeah, don't go. I've noticed that they'll hiss and they'll they'll go after your fingers.
Yes, they will.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Okay. So, what are the risks to the animals if? And Jackie, how about this? Like, what are the risks to the animals and to the humans when there's that close interaction, not just sight but interaction?
Well, as you mentioned, a snapping turtle, perfect example. Amazing how many times people want to go up and let me just kind of help that animal along, and you're going to lose a finger or two because they've got a very sharp, strong bite and a sharp jaw. So.
And feeding them too, I would, or trying to maybe give them some food or help in that sense. A no-no?
Definitely a no-no because what you think is okay for you or even your dog or your cat is not good for wild animals. They have their own specialized diet and they usually can find what they need, so they don't really need our help. It's kind of like putting a bird feeder out in the summertime. Don't really need to do that. You only encourage bears to come around your property.
Isn't that interesting? Yes. And I would imagine that it also makes some animals dependent. They start looking for human food.
Absolutely. They get very comfortable then coming up into your yard.
And we've heard stories of people actually trying to lure animals into their yard, often with food. So I would imagine that for all of the aforementioned reasons can be a danger to everyone involved as well.
It can, and for little animals like raccoons, it can be troublesome. For big animals like bears, it can be very dangerous. The expression of fed bear is a dead bear. Ultimately, animals that are fed, predators, lead to bad human-animal interactions and bad outcomes. So you got to be safe.
Okay, and we have an image of wild animals from TV. Let's have a look at these. So we've got, I believe, I think we have them. We don't.
Ta-da!
It always worked for me in college.
We've got a vivid imagination.
All right. Nevertheless, but you know, when we talk about these animals, you know, especially when we think of them as being very calm and very tame, deer, for example, look very gentle. They're not carnivores and everything. They don't make any noise, but they still can be very dangerous, and we can be dangerous to them.
Oh, sure. Well, white-tailed deer right here in Connecticut, you can have a 200-pound animal with very pointy, very sharp antlers that can run nearly 40 miles an hour and jump 8 feet high. That's a lot of, those are a lot of good reasons to leave that animal alone. The physics behind that, not very good.
Yeah, I've heard some stories. As we wrap up, what's going on at the zoo?
Sure, tons going on at the zoo. Thanks for asking. We've got our new Amur leopard, Sophia. She's on exhibit. She's gorgeous, so please come down and check her out. Personally, you should come down and check her out. Also, Mexican wolves. Beautiful female Mexican wolves are on exhibit. Camel rides and baby animals and more than I can think of right now. Lots
all
going
at the
on.
Beardsley Zoo, right, in Bridgeport. And guys, we really appreciate you coming in.
Thank
you. For
you.
sure, Jim and Jackie, Great
Pleasure.
to see you. Happy 4th weekend.
Thanks, Jeff.
Even it's the 6th. All right, we'll get you on after the break, but just want to let you know, of course, if you need more information, you can go to WTNH.com. That's simple, more information about everything you just heard. Okay, what's hot on the silver screen? We're going to have movie releases in just a few moments.